Bolliger and Mabillard, or B&M for short, is one of the most successful roller coaster manufacturers on the market. From their first creation in 1990 to their latest models opening up this year, B&M has always sought to push the envelope by trying new and exciting concepts. In this video, I will be ranking all of the unique B&M coaster designs. Please note my ranking will not only be based off of my personal favorites, but taking into their success factors on the market. Alright, well let's get to it. The stand-up coaster. It should be no surprise that this would rank last with all of their coaster types. The stand-up roller coaster was actually B&M's first design with Iron Wolf, though now known as the Floorless roller coaster Firebird. This model has been slowly decommissioned by the parks where they have currently resided at. When Cedar Point proved that an uncomfortable stand-up coaster could be converted into an acceptable floorless coaster, many parks started jumping on this idea. The last original stand-up coaster to be built was constructed back in 1999, which demonstrates that no one wants these types of coasters, for now that is. The traditional sit-down looping coaster. Kumba changed the game for B&M by demonstrating that they could now build massive looping coasters. With an average height around 150 feet, these giant roller coasters usually feature 7 inversions, including a vertical loop, cobra roll, zero-G roll, dive loop, Immelman, and of course, a corkscrew. However, once the company introduced their first floorless roller coaster, their traditional trains basically became obsolete overnight. The last traditional sit-down looping coaster was Zeppelin, The Ride, which opened in 2008. The flying coaster. When Vekoma introduced the Flying Dutchman model, B&M pulverized it by introducing their own, better, more reliable flying model. The first model being Air at Alton Towers, which opened in 2002, blossomed into 11 coasters. Their most recent addition, Flying Dinosaur, which opened in 2016, is considered to be one of the best flying coasters on the planet. The signature element of these models is the pretzel loop. It's an intense inversion that's going to get your blood pumping. Even though the last flying coaster was built 4 years ago, I would still consider this concept alive and well. Personally, I think we could see another new flying coaster in a couple years' time. The floorless coaster. Once Medusa opened to the public in 1999, the floorless roller coaster took the coasterverse by storm. Why build a roller coaster with traditional trains when you could just remove the floor out from underneath the riders? This concept quickly overtook their dive coasters, which is now the new standard for any new dive coaster. As mentioned earlier, some less popular stand-up coasters started to be converted into floorless roller coasters. This has proved to be a less expensive option than tearing down and replacing the entire roller coaster with something else. We haven't seen a ground-up floorless coaster get built since 2013, unless we're counting a dive coaster, which might signal that this concept is starting to die off. But expect to see some more stand-up roller coasters get converted over to floorless coasters in the next few years. The wing coaster. B&M's latest concept. A wing coaster hangs riders out over the side of the track. That way there is nothing above or below you. Some might consider this to be the evolutionary transition from an inverted or floorless coaster, but a wing coaster is actually quite different from either. Because the riders are hanging on the side, the train can pierce through objects, creating unique near-collision moments that could never have been accomplished before. The wing coaster also brought about the first ever LSM launch coaster by B&M with Thunderbird, located at Holiday World. Another signature element of this model is the dive drop, which starts off at the top of the lift hill, slowly rolling riders upside down before plummeting down. The wing coaster is still rather new, with their first model opening in 2011, but the rate that they're being constructed, expect this to become their most popular model within a few years' time. The dive coaster, another model by B&M that has been proving its longevity. From the first model in 1998 to their most recent version, which is opening later this year, the dive coaster has been only proving on its original concept. The overall idea is rather simple. It's all about building up suspense before being dropped straight down. The model has only been getting taller and faster with each version, though Emperor, opening at SeaWorld San Diego, is showing that you don't have to break records to create a fun, enjoyable attraction. Because this model is extremely popular with the general public, I expect more versions of the dive coaster to be constructed. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see our first GIGA dive coaster within the next few years. The Hyper GIGA Coaster. Once Apollo's Chariot opened to the public in 1999, the Hypercoaster model has been a huge success for B&M. They are high-capacity machines that focus on high G-forces and fun airtime. Though other manufacturers build Hyper and Giga coasters, B&M is the most successful with this concept. They will have 18 models in operation by the end of 2020. Expect to see many more models get built over this decade. The Inverted Coaster. Clearly the best coaster concept introduced by B&M. With their first version, Batman the Ride, which opened in 1992, this coaster type is still pumping out new models. The latest, which is expected to open in 2021, will be their 32nd model to open. These roller coasters feature strong positive Gs in multiple inversions. Inverted coasters also prove to be great terrain coasters like Nemesis, Alpengeist, Montu, Great Bear, just to name a few. You can never go wrong with an inverted roller coaster, and basically every amusement park wants an inverted coaster in their coaster lineup. Well, that was my ranking of B&M's great coaster concepts. Sure, some of these might prove to be a little gimmicky, but they all are popular models that any theme park would like to have as part of their coaster lineup. You can never go wrong with a B&M, even though some might not consider them to be more aggressive, like something built by Intamin and Rocky Mountain Construction. They've always gotten the job done, building popular, efficient, high-capacity coasters. Alright, well that wraps it up for today's video. Let me know in the comment which is your favorite. As always, please subscribe so you don't miss out on more great content coming your way by X Screen Thrills.